navigating through this particular challenges. Now let's look at. I have just given you 5 reasons to do an MBA: faculty, learning model, the peer group, the placement opportunities or the career opportunities, and the alum network. Let's look at these 5 things from the point of view of ISB's PGP. How does ISB's PGP help you in those 5 things? So going to the next slide. The PGP at ISB provides you these 5 things. First and foremost is the faculty model. So we have world-class faculty. We have something called a unique portfolio model of visiting faculty. So although we have 70 plus teaching and research faculty members who teach a contemporary curriculum, but we also have a pool of 200 plus visiting faculty from top B schools who not just come to ISB not just for a one-off lecture, but they come to ISB to teach a complete course. They come for a complete term, they teach a complete course, and then they go back to their respective universities. So what this does is that this enables us to bring the world's top teaching talent, be it from industry, be it from academia, to come and teach at ISB. I'll give you 2 examples here. So one is Mr. Krish Subramaniam, who is currently the Chief Economic Advisor to the Government of India. And he is a faculty at ISB. So he teaches economics and finance to students at Indian School of Business. So imagine learning economics and finance from a person who advises Government of India on matters of finance. Another one is Mr. Edward Rogers. So he was till May this year the Chief Knowledge Officer at NASA, and now he has his own startup. And he teaches a course every year at ISB called Managing Business Complexity. So imagine learning business complexity from somebody who deals with complexity day in and day out at his job at NASA. So this is the kind of teaching talent we are able to bring in because of a portfolio model of visiting faculty at ISB. Moving on, next slide. Let's look at a learning model. So at ISB, we follow an integrated learning model. We just don't teach students in the classroom, but we expect them to, also learn from other components. Of course, classroom learning is an important component of learning at ISB. We have the case methodology. We have 10 specializations which we offer to students at ISB in a one-year program. We have 8 terms in our one-year program, wherein in the first 3.5 terms, you learn 14 core courses. And in the next 4.5 terms, you take between 17 to 20 electives, for which you have a choice of taking 80 plus electives. In terms of applied learning, we have an experiential learning program for students who want to do an industry project. They can take this particular program in lieu of a course. It is for credit, it is graded, and you work on a live problem with a particular organization, along with a faculty guide and an industry guide, and present your findings post that. This also is a precursor to the PPOs at ISB. Excuse me. Now, looking at other things which we have, we also study tracks, which are sort of a compressed internships which students can do across 3 variations, either internationally at domestic locations or in the government sector. PAEV is Plan and Entrepreneurial Venture. This is for people who want to become entrepreneurs. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, you can take this particular course, which is offered by our incubation center, and start building the business blocks of your business right here at ISB. And once you graduate, you can apply to an incubation center, and you'll be supported for 12 months with a stipend while you build your startup. So we also have 40 plus international exchanges. We have 14 professional and 10 social clubs where you can be part of, learn from our peers. And because of the residential nature of the program, you always have something to look forward to on the campus on every weekend. So we have a lot of seminars, conferences, a lot of events happening by various clubs on every weekend on the campus. And being a part of ISB student, you can be you have access to almost all the top competitions worldwide. We also have our own ISB competitions like Advaita, ILS, Indian ISB Leadership Series, and Bandhan, which is a social event. And look at our diversity. So one of the important, next slide, please. So one of the important facets of the PGP at ISB is a large cohort size. So we have 880 students every year at PGP. And in that, we are able to bring in people from different walks of life. We have people who have been social activists. We have people who have been army officers, mountaineers, sports people, air hostesses from design background. And this enables you to learn from them, not just in classroom perspective, but also in terms of inspiring yourself outside the classrooms on the campus life. Going to the next slide, please. So this is how the diversity looks like at ISB based on various parameters. If you look at one thing here, we are proud of something what we call uniformity in diversity. So if the figures here in black are the overall figures for ISB, the figures in green are for the Mohali campus, and figures in blue are for the Hyderabad campus. If you look at all of these parameters, you will see that they are all consistent across both the campuses. So we believe in something called uniformity in diversity. That is, either you are in Hyderabad or you are at Mohali, you will get the same consistent, diverse experience which ISB has to offer all its students. And not just experience, but even the learning experience is consistent across both the campuses. Moving on, I just want to touch upon this philosophy, what we call one school, two campuses philosophy. So even though we have two campuses, one in Hyderabad, one in Mohali, both of them have similar consistent experience, as I mentioned above, and they have integrated placements and admissions. So you don't apply to ISB Hyderabad, ISB Mohali, you apply to ISB, and then we give you the campus based on your preferences. And in terms of placements also, placements happen either at the Hyderabad campus or at the Mohali campus. And all the schools from the, all the students from the other school will fly down to that particular campus for the placements that year. And the recruiters will not know whether you're from Hyderabad or Mohali campuses. They'll see you only as an ISB student. And you also have an option of spending one term at a campus which is not your base location. For example, you are based out of Hyderabad campus, you can spend one term of your program at ISB at Mohali campus as well to get the feel of both the campuses at ISB. Now, moving on, let's talk about a global network. The last, second last point which I wanted to cover before placements. Excuse me. Although we are a very young B school, but within a short span of 19 years, we have built up a formidable alumni network which rivals any other top B school in India. We now have more than 11,500 plus alums, 90% of which are from the PGP program. We have more than 500 plus alumni who are CXOs or top leadership positions, vice VPs and above. We have 600 plus alums who are leading their own family businesses or their own startups. Our network is spread across 60 plus countries now and 400 plus cities worldwide. And we have a lot of special interest groups where we organize a lot of events for our alumni association. So as an alum, you have a choice to be part of any or all of these groups. And you are then invited to various learning events on the year wherein you can learn on the topic which is closest to your heart. You can be part of the technology SIG or the manufacturing and operation SIG. And this gives you lifelong learning which you take from ISB. Moving on, we come to the next part, which is placements. So, of course, there are statistics on the left-hand side of the screen. But what is more important on this slide is the Venn diagram on the right. Now, if you look at this Venn diagram, what this says is that 79% of our cohort, so our cohort of class of 2020 was 890, and 79% of them had a functional shift. That is, moving on from, let's say, IT to marketing, or moving on from marketing to finance. 78.5% of the cohort had industry shift. That is moving on from, let's say, mining to consulting, automotive to banking. So, and 65.28% of the cohort had both a functional and an industry shift. So this is the kind of roles, opportunities we're able to create for our students, wherein we transition their careers or give them a totally different orbits altogether in their career. So PGP at ISB is known for the career shifts that it gives to its participants. And we had 82% of our roles by lateral roles except, that is at least one level above entry level, and 80.77% by leadership roles except, that is at least VP and above. Continuing on to placements, let's look at the next slide, wherein I want to highlight the average CTCs across the year. So for the class of 2020, we had 2018, we had 375 people registered. We had 113, 111, we had 11336 offers. For class of 2019, we had around, I believe, another. Can we go to the next tab, please? 373 companies and average CTC was 25.08. It jumped significantly from class of 2018. Again, class of 2020, we had 433 companies and we had 1504 offers, and average CTC was 25.71 lakhs per annum. Now, what this slide shows you is that we have a depth in terms of our placements. So even in the years wherein there have been recessions, we have been able to significantly increase the number of companies coming to campuses because we have a very good relationship with companies across diversity, across geographies, across functions. Moving on, so it's not that we are a lot of campuses in India are known as finance campus or consulting campus or investment banking campus, but at ISB, although we are very good in consulting, in fact, around 22% of our roles last year were in consulting, but we have a depth across various industries. So if you look at this figure shows you that 2% of our students got placed in advertising and media, 22% in consulting, 15% in IT and ITES, and so on and so forth. And not just industries, even across functions, we have a lot of depth. If you look at the next slide, we can see that. Next slide, please. In terms of functions as well, 16% are in general management and strategic planning, 16% in sales and marketing, 16% in product management, and apart from that, in analytics, in finance, in operations, in technology, we have significant people placed every year. So we are not just a particular function specific or industry specific campus. We have depth across industries in terms of our placements. Moving on to the next slide, I just want to highlight our key indicative recruiter. Again, you see that we have recruiters across industries and across geographies coming to recruit from the Indian School of Business. Next slide, please. Okay, so finally we come to the section on how to apply to ISB. So there are three modes of entry to the PGP program at ISB. One is a normal PGP mode of entry, wherein you require minimum of 2 years of work experience. The second is the early entry option. So for people who do not have 2 years of work experience, they can still apply. They can still be considered for the admission, and then they'll be made an offer. But only caveat is that they can join only after they complete their 24 months of work experience. So in essence, we give them a deferred entry, deferred option, deferred joining offer to the students. So although they have an offer, but they complete their work experience of 24 months and join us when they are have their 24 months on paper. The other option is Young Leaders Program, which is for people who have who are in the pre-final year and final year of their colleges, and here they can, if they are made offers, they can join us after they complete the 20 months of work experience, and they can join the PGP program at ISB. Now, what do we look at? We look at your academic credentials, we look at a leadership quotient through your work experience, and we look at the personal attributes through the essays. Moving on. So, an overview of application process. What do we look at? What are the essentials for applying to ISB? You need to have a bachelor's degree. You need to have work experience of at least 2 years to apply to the normal mode. And you need to have a GMAT or a GRE score. A valid GMAT or a GRE score, not older than 5 years. You have to fill the application online, where we'll ask you to put your academics, your employment details. You'll need to write 2 essays and 1 recommendations. And in the essays, we look at clarity of your thought and uniqueness of your career goals. Now, look at in terms of timelines. We have already finished the round 1 deadline. The round 2 deadline is on January 10th, 2021. We may or may not have a round, but if we have a round 3, we'll announce it by the end of this month. So that's all from my side from the formal part of the presentation. And post the second part, I'll be happy to take and answer your queries.
Thank you, Amit, for sharing such an insight about ISB. And indeed, we have learned that how ISB is, how this young MBA school is offering so much, and what are the great opportunities. So now I will ask our admission consultant and destination manager, Mr. Rajiv, to experience his experiences and the servicing challenges.
Thank you, Anusha. And thank you, Amit. It was really a insightful session for all of us. So I'll be discussing on a very important question. Should students take help from consultant or should they apply on their own? But before that, I would like to ask one question to all of you. What would you choose? Would you choose a raw uncut diamond or a polished diamond from a showroom? If you get a chance to choose from a raw diamond versus a polished diamond from a showroom, which one would you prefer? Polished one. Yes, I've been getting the reply, polished one. Yeah, okay. So most of you have replied polished one. The reason behind that polished one is because the polished one has more value and has more clarity basically in terms of its shine. Similarly, we at Manya believe on the fact that all our applicants, most of them are like raw uncut diamonds. They have huge potential, they have huge talent. It is just this right strategy which is lacking and which is prohibiting them to go for our dream schools. So on this lines, we will start with the session whether you should take help from the consultant or you should apply on your own. Okay. Now, first question is, okay, let us assume why should a person hire a dedicated consultant? Okay. The most important thing is, and as per my experience of placing more than 600 to 700 students in the last 4 or 5 years, I have seen 95% of the student does not know about himself or herself. They are not aware of their strengths and weaknesses. I am putting one question to you all. Tell me one trait or one quality that makes you different from rest of the crowd. Some of may answer in a matter of hours, some of them may take 15 days, some of them may even take a year. So that is why, introspection, brainstorming session, constructive feedback session, all of these things are very, very important as far as writing an essay is considered. Whether you apply to ISB or any of the top B schools, clarity of thought along with your strength and weaknesses matters a lot. If you have an extraordinary profile, if you have a very good test scores, but if you lack clarity, if you lack your short-term and long-term goals, visions, chances of getting a reject is very high. So if you go through a dedicated consultant, you will get to know about several questions, like whether this B school suits my aspiration, because most of the people apply with a vision, but some of them do apply because their peers have gone or their parents have gone. So this is something which we introspect. Does that B school fit your profile? It is possible that some schools are famous for marketing, some are famous for consulting, some are famous for finance. So that also we discuss. How you should position yourself. That is very important, right away from the essays till the interviews that you take. You can be a national level athlete, but how you present yourself, that plays a very, very critical and vital role. Because there are more than 5,000 applications, you need to stand out. So that positioning plays a very important role. Moreover, students are confused, what should be my GMAT score? I get a lot of questions saying that I have 700 in GMAT, I have 740 in GMAT, I have 660 in GMAT. Will I be able to get through ISB or will I be able to get through any of the top B schools? So all these things we usually discuss. And obviously, when should I apply to this B school? There are different rounds of deadline for B schools. Applying to the right round also plays a very vital role in terms of scholarships and in terms of other parameters of getting accepted. So this all things will become quite clear to you, and at least you will have that clarity. Yes, where I need to go, what all things I need to keep, what should be my plans. It makes the process much easier. Okay, because you are the main aspirant, your thought process should be very clear, and we as consultants are there to help you whatever is required to bring that clarity, so that you can also become like a polished diamond with a clarity and with that shyness. And all the B school will prefer that only. I hope this is very clear to you all. So we at Manya have placed a lot of students at ISB, and we have that services basically which can help you out to bring out the best in your profile. So some of the USPs are, we will give you a brainstorming session along with a constructive feedback on your profile. Just as I said, if you can be a national player, but how to present that, how to speak, how to make that stories, everything will be discussed. Application strategy will be discussed, which allows us to choose from. There may be 3-4 recommenders, but only one recommendation is required. Which one will be the best? How to approach him or her? We have an exclusive editing services. We have an editing team which focuses only on the essays. Always remember, writing a 1,000-word essay is much easier than writing a 400 or 500-word essay. Just like ISB asks for a 500-word essay, writing 500 words is more difficult than writing a 1,000 words. So all these things, all this minute analysis we will do in terms of essay editing and the application strategy, so that the best essay should come out from your profile. That is very, very important. Apart from that, LOR planning and editing, what all questions are asked in LORs, all these things, how to address that. Okay, it should not be very optimistic, it should not be very pessimistic, it should be balanced basically. And then the application review followed by mock interview sessions. Out of, you can say, most of the students that we service, 80% of the students are unaware of how to address the interview questions. They usually fumble. Some of them are able to speak, but they are not able to present their thought process basically, right? So since in interview there are behavioral questions, situational based questions, profile based questions, some out of the box questions, so all these things are taken care of. And it is not only interview, we are doing a confidence building session. We will give you 3 to 4 mock sessions, and I can believe if you work on that very, very patiently and very, very seriously, I can assure you, you can crack any interview, any B school interview in the world. So that level of confidence building is required, so that you can again shine in whatever traits you have. Okay, so these are some of the USPs which you are going to get. This is not only for a particular time, it is going to be helpful for you for the entire duration of your career, not only in cracking the B school interviews. Tomorrow, if you go for a position of a C-level executive in one of the top companies, let's say HCL, let's say Wipro, let's say any of the top MNCs, there also you need to convince, right? So you have to develop that strategy, that knack of talking in terms of clarity from now itself. You are on a verge of becoming a leader. You need to develop yourself. You need to polish your skills in that way. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Talking about the third slide, people usually ask these questions, how basically we are going to write the essays. Obviously, this is something which we can discuss while we have a separate one-to-one discussion with everyone. But these are some of the basic fundamental things which you need to work on. And I believe 90% of them will not be doing it at the initial level. Even if you have, it is very difficult to present. All these things will be taken care of, like strength. There was one student who had 3 years of work experience. So in the long-term goal, he had written, I want to become a C-level executive in a matter of 8 years. So obviously, that is something which is quite difficult in the industry. So although he was talented to become a C-level executive, but answering that question in this way will not be making that sense. So again, we need to pitch it in a right way. So all these things are taken care of, and we ensure that whatever you present should be the best that one has. I hope you got that USP of basically hiring a consultant. On the other hand, if you believe if you are like a person who can hit the bullseye directly, if you think that you have done a lot of introspection for the last 15-20 years, definitely you can apply on your own as well. But everyone cannot be, the top level brainstorming session planner. Everyone cannot be a top level premium student as of now. You can be a raw tapped potential, but you need to bring out your potential by hiring a consultant who can help you do so to make the things easier. I hope this is very clear to all of you, the value of hiring a dedicated consultant. Then we will move on to the next thing, and we will answer all of your queries so that this session becomes valuable as it is always. Yeah, so we can move on to the next slide. So briefly speaking, if you are a student, as of now, let's say you are thinking of applying for a B school, obviously you require a GRE or GMAT. So at Manya, we have one comprehensive solution wherein we give you a GRE test prep, GMAT test prep, followed by admission consulting. So it's a one-stop destination for all of you. So if you are in a process of planning, if you are or have already planned, or if you have already taken, we have everything ready for you to use it in your favor. Okay, so from starting to the end, we are going to be there with you. Okay, so So one thing, again, we'd like to show some of the success. So we are the market leaders, not only in the Indian B school admissions, we are also a very, very strong player in the international B school scenario as well. We have placed students in almost all the countries of the world along with ISB. So the students who are applying to ISB do apply to foreign schools to keep that as a backup. Okay, because ISB works on international universities theme itself. Like just the way you are applying to ISB, similarly, if you apply to any top schools, more or less 70% will overlap. So these are some of the top admits that we have given. We can move on to the next slide also. Yeah. So across the world, we have placed students in top universities. So that's why we have exclusive editing team and we have a dedicated admission consultants. Okay. So ultimately, you as a student, you as an applicant are the sole decision makers about your career, right? We can only give you advice. We can only give you the right track, how to go about it. And you are responsible for becoming whatever you are, whether you become the CEO of Google tomorrow, whether you become the CEO of Hewlett Packard tomorrow, you are responsible for your own actions. But yes, if you want that everything should be done smoothly to start with an MBA, we would definitely recommend, and I would definitely recommend you all to have the session once, one-to-one, get that value, get that thought process, and then go ahead with. So in simple terms, take a long breath, start thinking about your career if you have not already, choose the right mentor and take that step. Have faith in God, and I believe everyone will be able to get placed in some way or other in the best way possible. So with this, I would like to conclude this session, and I would like to hand over to Anusha for the Q&A session. So we will try to answer whatever questions you gave, so that at least the thought of clarity should be there.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. It was indeed a great insight about services and the importance of consultant. So before we go out, we have a special offer for the first 50 enrollments to avail 20% discount on the premium ISB products. So that is one of the highlights. You can simply write down the coupon code, because at the time of enrollment or for the query, you really have to mention this. So I'm giving you 1 minute's time, and later on, I'm going to pick up all the questions. So just take a snapshot of this coupon code, which will really help you out. I hope everyone has taken down the coupon code or maybe taken a picture of it. Is it so? Should I proceed ahead? Thank you so much, Sagar. Sonal, thank you so much for the prompt answer. So moving on to the Q&A session. So the first question I have is for Amit. So one of the student wants to know that what is the best time to take GMAT test if we are targeting round 1 for 2021?
Okay, so round 1 for class of 2020. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, Amit.
Okay. So round 1 every year for ends in September. So first week of September or second week of September, usually the round 1 date every year. So that is something which can be taken into consideration when you plan your GMAT. So we'll need your GMAT test scores by September 1st week. So ideally, if we talk to a lot of consultants from GMAT, or we have spoken to GMAT itself, they say for an average student, it takes 3 months to prepare for GMAT. So accordingly, working backwards, you can then, plan your GMAT scores, GMAT accordingly. But we need your scores by the first week of September for round 1.
Okay, the next question is, what is the ideal score required for GMAT and GRE for ISB Hyderabad?
Okay, so at ISB, we do not have any cutoffs for GMAT or GRE. What we do is we look at a holistic profile of the candidate, and that includes your ACADS, your work experience, your GMAT or GRE score, your essays, and your letter of recommendation. Now, all of these 5 things will have certain weightages. Some will have higher, some will have lower. but each in itself may not have a very high or very low weightage to ensure that you get a call. For example, somebody may have a 760 GMAT, but still may not make it to ISB because the other 4 things may not be so good. So what I'll suggest is look at your overall profile and try to balance it accordingly. So if you have very good CADs, a slightly lower GMAT will suffice. But if you have less work experience and less not so great at CADs, you might need a higher GMAT. So that's how you should balance your profile. But in terms of ranges from last year we had a GMAT range of 600 to 770 and 710 was the median. For GRE, we had a range from 311 to 334 and 325 was the median.
Thank you so much, Amit.
Okay,
I
to
will
add
ask
on,
the same question to Mr. Rajiv that he has serviced to. What kind of students you had?
so to add on to Amit, as he clearly said, that ISB looks into the holistic profile of the candidates. So I have placed students with 660 GMAT score as well, and with 740 also. But overall holistic profile should be balanced. For example, one student, his name was Dipesh, class of 2019. He had 60% in his bachelor's, had 660 in GMAT, but he had a very good work experience of 8 years in one of the cement companies. I think it was ACC. We drafted SOP in a very strategic way, and we demonstrated that 8 years of work experience. And fortunately, he was very skeptical whether he will be getting through or not, but he made it through ISB. So that clearly demonstrates the fact that your holistic profile should be well balanced. As long as your goals and visions are clear, along with your balanced profile, you should be able to get an admit. That is something which ISB is known for basically. Unlike other Indian B schools, which has a strict filter of that you should have at least 80-90% in your bachelor's, ISB has given you this flexibility. So you should be using it judiciously and get yourself admitted into one of the top B schools.
Thank you so much, Rajiv. Another question is for Amit. Difference between PGP and PGP MFAB.
Okay, so this PGP is a full-time residential MBA equivalent program at ISB, which is 1 year long, 52-week long program, and which gives you a MBA equivalent degree or certificate, and which is ranked 20th globally in terms of global MBA rankings. Now, PGP MFAB is a PGP Masters in Family Business Management, right? This is for people who have a family business and who want to know specialize in running a family business. This is not a full-time course. It is a course wherein you come and study in the campus in 1 week, in a month, or similarly, and it's a 1 year program. So those two programs are two differences. One is in terms of specialization, other is a delivery format. So PGP is a full-time residential global MBA equivalent program, while PGP MFAB is a specialization in family business, and which is not a full-time residential program. It's a modular program, but you come to campus once in a while, go back, do your assignments, and come again after a few weeks.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes,
Amit?
yes, you are.
Yeah.
You are.
So there is one question that are BBA students at a disadvantage compared to engineering students when it comes to selection in ISB?
BBA student, you said?
Yes, BBA
Yeah,
student.
yeah. So definitely not. It's not about what degree you have done or what course you have done. It's probably on your profile. So we do give considerations to students who are, from different academic backgrounds. If you look at ISB, we have an engineer to non-engineer ratio of 68% to 38%, 32%. So 32% of our cohort, which will be somewhere in the region of around 280 people, are non-engineers. So that has happened because we ensure that we give significant weightages to their undergraduate degree and ensure that such people are not at a disadvantage. So definitely not. Even if you are from BBA from sciences, we welcome you all to be a part of the program, and you will definitely contribute to the diversity at ISB.
Thank you. Another question is, can you repeat the type of applicants who can apply for PGP? Second part of it is, does FMCG companies hire people with 2 to 3 years of work ex for sales and marketing role? I think he's talking more about the placement, but I think that comes with overall academic performance in ISB. So I want you to answer the first part. Can you repeat the type of applicants who can apply for
Yeah.
PGP?
So there are three modes of entry. Yeah. Yeah. There are three modes of entries to ISB. First is a normal mode of entry, wherein you can apply directly to the PGP program. You need to have 24 months of work experience. If you apply for the class of 21, that is for the class starting in June 21, if you have 24 months of work experience, you can immediately join the class if you are accepted. But second option is early entry option. So for people who do not have 24 months of work experience, which is mandatory for ISB, you can still apply to ISB, will still be considered, and will make you an offer. But you can only join ISB once you complete your 24 months of work, 4 months of work experience. For example, if by 31st of May, you only have 18 months of experience, and we find you good enough for ISB, will make you an offer, but you cannot join in the next class. You can join in the class a year after, once you complete those 24 months of work, at least 24 months of work experience. And the third mode of entry is for college students. It is for people who have 0 years of work experience and are currently studying in the colleges, either in pre-final year or final year. So for such students, they can apply through the Young Leaders program. Under this particular thing, if we make you an offer, then you have to get 20 months of work experience post your graduation, and then you can come and join ISB. So both the second last two modes are deferred admission offers which we give to our candidates. Now, regarding FMCG, so most of the FMCG companies will want you to start from the beginning, from the field sales. So, be it ITC or be it Unilever or P&G, they will hire you first. For the first 1 year, you will be going to the field. You'll be working with the field agents and learning all the various channels. And for that, they require people who are young, who are with maximum of 2 or 3 years of work experience. So people who are 2 or 3 years of work experience are ideally suited for FMCG companies.
Okay, so there is one very different question which says, please could you let me know if students with a different profile can target ISB, that is someone coming from non-traditional background, such as defense or medical?
Yes. So every year at ISB, we have a lot of people who are from the defense forces, people who have had 10 years, 15 years of work experience in either Air Force or the Navy or the Armed Forces. So every year, invariably, we have at least 5 to 6 people from the Armed Forces. We have people who are doctors also who apply and get into ISB every year. In fact, a couple of years back, we had a doctor who was 51 years old, and he came to ISB. He made it to ISB, and he came to ISB because he wanted to start his own chain of hospitals, and he wanted to gain the business and economic skills to run a hospital chain. So yes, we encourage people with non-traditional backgrounds, people who are doctors, people who are army officers, people who are from the aviation industry. We have an air hostess in our current back cohort. We have people from the modeling world. In a few years back, we had somebody who was a Miss India runner-up who was part of the cohort at ISB. We have had Mr. Viren Raskina, who was the Indian hockey captain, who was part of ISB. So yes, we encourage people from non-traditional backgrounds.
Okay, just a reminder or a request that sharing your profile, it would be very difficult for Mr. Amit to assess all the profile throughout. So for that, you can connect with us. We will help you to assess. We can help you if certain things are required to be answered through ISB team. We will definitely connect you because Amit, I'll be very honest. I have received approximately 7 to 8 profile stating that what are my chances. So guys, please, you have the information, connect with us. You can either call on the respective number which is there, or you can write to us on info@manyagroup.com. We'll be happy to help you. So I'm taking last 1 to 2 questions and then I'm going to log off. And if you have any further questions, trust us, we are happy to help you. We are happy to answer all the queries. So last two questions, 2 to 3 questions maximum. So I mean, there's one question, one student wants to know, dropping a course, how it's going to impact in ISB admissions?
I'm sorry, I could not get your
Dropping
question.
a course, if someone is studying, but then he has dropped that course and then has a good work ex. Second, what is the impact of small company versus big company in the admission process?
Okay. Again, yeah, as I had mentioned earlier, that we look at a holistic profile of the candidate. So there are 5 components. Academic is just one component. And even in ACADS, we look at not just your current scores or the latest scores in your UG. We also look at, which university you have done your course from, which course you have done, whether it's an engineering, non-engineering program, whether it's a sciences program. Then all those factors are taken into consideration, and then we come up with a composite scores for your ACADS. So now in that scenario, if you have dropped a course somewhere, it may not add up much unless it's really significant, or there's a very big gap in your this thing which may impact your scores a bit, but it will definitely not be a deal breaker in terms of not rejecting you outright. So that's the beauty of the ISB selection process, that if you have a weakness in a particular area, you can cover it up in the other areas. So that answers your first question. What was the second question, Anusha, please, if you could repeat?
Someone asked that what is the impact of small organization working with small organization versus a big organization? How much the tag of a big corporate matters, and how does the difference?
Right. So now, if you look at, if you have had a chance to go through our application, you will realize that in the work experience column, we have 2 things which we look at, which we ask you. One is your job responsibilities. Second is your achievements at work, right? So whether you're working at a big organization or a small organization, it is up to your job responsibilities which you do. If what kind of work you do, that's more important. So you may be working in a small organization, but you may be leading a lot of teams. You may be working on a very new technology that will give you good marks. Again, second thing is achievements. So if in a small organization you have had 2 or 3 promotions, that is any day better than working in a big organization without any promotions. So it's totally is a balance. So it's totally about your achievements and your responsibilities. It's not about small or big organizations.
Thank you, Amit. We have a last question, which is from Sonal. She is asking, can someone from MSMSE family business background to be placed in one of the MBAs? MBBs, sorry. MBBs.
Okay. Can somebody with MBBs is
MSME family business background to be placed in one of the MBBs?
MSME and then family business background. Of course, to be placed in MBBs, now what do MBBs look at? They look at your strategic thinking skills. And you, as a working in a family business, if you have had overall cross-functional skills which you have gained in the business, and then coming to ISB, if you can get an expertise in strategy, you can get an overview of all the various other subjects like finance and marketing, then that makes you an ideal candidate for MBBs as well. So yes, they will look at you, but idea is that you have to get those right skill sets. You have to understand what kind of skill sets they are looking, and you can get that from your family experience, as well as build those skill sets in ISB when you are here. So those things will determine whether you get into MBBs or not.
Thank you so much. I think that is it. And if you have any questions, you can write to us. You can connect with us. If you really want to be there for your profile assessment brainstorming, you are most welcome to contact us. And if not answered to us, we'll definitely ask Mr. Amit to help us out. And thank you so much, Amit and Rajiv, for taking out your time. It was indeed an informative session. Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure being here.
Once again, I am just showcasing the coupon code. If you have missed, kindly note down the coupon code. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amit.
All the best, everyone.